Ariga Torosian, High Fashion Made in the Margins. Article by Ariga Torosian, published on July 25, 2025, on EVN Reports Lifestyle Magazine, SALT. Emerging at the intersection of two cultures, the Ariga Torosian brand is a reflection of heritage, architecture, and artistry, a bold vision woven into timeless design. Born and raised in Iran, Ariga Torosian's creative instincts led her to move to Yerevan, Armenia at the age of 19, with the dream of pursuing design at the Fine Arts Academy. Upon her graduation in 2011, she returned to Iran to explore the business side of fashion in the country's much larger market. But after 2 years, her creative instincts pulled her back to her roots, back to Armenia. In 2013, that calling gave rise to the Ariga Torosian brand, made in Armenia, where her vision truly came to life. From the outset, Torosian's brand forged a path of its own. She never sat down to write a business plan. Instead, it unfolded naturally. With a degree in fashion, she never paused to second-guess her trajectory and didn't apply elsewhere or consider further study. She simply began working on her first collection, a decision that would take her somewhere she hadn't imagined: Paris Fashion Week. Debuting her very first collection on the industry's biggest stage became a defining moment. It wasn't just a milestone, it was a launchpad, she recalls. For Torosian, fashion became more than business. It's her rhythm, her ritual, a way of life. Interestingly, the first piece Ariga ever designed wasn't a dress, but a shoe. Crafted from fabric, it came to life with the help of a small Armenian-owned shoe workshop in Iran run by her friends. "I was involved in every step of the process," she recalls. "I visited daily, watching my sketch transform into something tangible." The hands-on experience differed greatly from the techniques she had studied in school and revealed an entirely new dimension of design. That formative moment left a lasting impression. To this day, the Ariga Torosian brand continues to offer a limited edition shoe collection. "My brand is a form of self-expression, a hobby, a business, and a lifestyle. It's my daily ritual and the thing I am most devoted to," she says. Torosian's designs are deeply shaped by her dual heritage, bridging the worlds of Iran and Armenia. "Our roots leave an imprint," she explains. "The beauty, the history, and the challenges people grow up with become part of us. When creation comes from within, those influences are not only felt, they're seen." Having spent half her life in each country, both cultural identities have shaped her aesthetic. While every collection has its own distinct inspiration, her signature style, rooted in personal experience, remains unmistakable. Torosian sees the world through forms, bold lines, textured surfaces, and layered space. She explains how architecture has always drawn her in, not as something distant or theoretical, but as a daily presence. "You can't unsee it," she says. "Architecture plays a big role in describing my brand and the cities we live in, the buildings we pass. They shape how we see everything." Both in Iran and Armenia, these urban structures are a big part of her visual landscape, and they left a mark on her creative instincts. Sculpture deepened that vision. During her time in Armenia, sculpting became her medium, and it transformed her creative process. She started visualizing designs as shapes in space, turning them in her head, before committing them to paper. Even today, she builds her collections like that, mentally sculpting every line and contour, then translating that vision into clothing, fluid, wearable structures that exist in motion. "With each collection, I follow a concept, and everything else takes shape from it," Torosian says, noting that this is why no single design element appears consistently in all her pieces. Each body of work stands on its own. Her most recent collection draws inspiration from Soviet-era Armenian architecture, with each garment echoing a specific architectural detail. This approach is consistent throughout previous collections. She doesn't rely on repetition, but reinvents her visual language based on each concept. Yet she admits that one motif subtly connects all her collections: the Armenian arch. Though never used the same way twice, this iconic shape resurfaces frequently, though it evolves with each interpretation. "I wouldn't say one element defines my brand," she notes, "but I can see how those curves, those architectural arcs, keep finding their way in." Known for its black and white palette, the brand embraces muted, understated tones in both fabric texture and color, allowing the cut and form of the clothing to do the talking. For Torosian, color is secondary to silhouette. She selects each fabric deliberately, not for its boldness, but for how well it serves the concept behind each collection. It's less about visual noise and more about clarity of form. "If the cut tells the story, why should the color shout over it?" she says. Her minimal palette isn't a limitation, but a design philosophy that lets structure lead. Founded in 2013, the Ariga Torosian brand has now existed for over a decade. Looking back, Ariga is certain of one thing: evolution was essential. "If I was still working with the same themes and structures after 10 years, she reflects, I would have been disappointed. Each collection reveals something new, elements to fix, refine, and expand. Perhaps a fabric that didn't feel right, or a design that didn't breathe. For her, beauty lives in that balance, because ultimately, fashion must be wearable. If you make a piece people only wear once or treat as decoration, then it belongs in a gallery, not a wardrobe," she says. Practicality and comfort are as important as concept and visual impact. Her design philosophy is about finding that delicate balance between art and life, expression and function. That ongoing process of reflection, correction, and growth is what she finds most beautiful. "Each collection teaches me something new," she says. "That's how I move forward. That's what makes this journey feel meaningful. And for me, that's the real success of the brand." After 12 years of building her brand, Torosian understands how her designs are perceived: bold, avant-garde, far from minimalist. To the general public, her pieces may seem unconventional, even niche. She acknowledges that, in Armenia especially, the market has its limitations, and her style doesn't always align with mainstream expectations. But fitting in was never her concern. For Ariga, staying true to her creative identity matters more than mass appeal. "If I try to be like everyone else, I'll lose my voice, and my brand will lose its shape," she says, adding that she doesn't chase trends. Instead, she believes in crafting a clear, specific aesthetic, one that speaks to those who connect with her vision. Rather than adapting her work to match the market, she sees herself as a stylist guiding others, offering something different and honest. Her goal isn't just to expand her audience in Armenia, but to connect with people around the world who seek something beyond the ordinary. "Those who see it, get it," she adds. "They come to me." Torosian considers her 2023 collection as her most defining work. Presented during the inaugural Yerevan Fashion Week, it marked a turning point, not just in her career, but in Armenian fashion's international visibility. One dress in particular embodied the brand's essence, and the conceptual depth resonated deeply with audiences and quickly became a standout, not only locally, but also with members of the international press. Torosian sees fashion's shrinking global footprint as a positive development. As sustainability becomes more important for consumers, she hopes more brands will commit to this shift. "Let's be honest," she says, "we don't need this many clothes in our wardrobes." Mass production has created a cycle of overconsumption by convincing people they constantly need something new, resulting in psychological, environmental, and social costs. For Torosian, sustainability starts with responsibility. Ariga Torosian operates her brand on a made-to-order basis. She displays prototypes and creates pieces only after receiving customer orders. No excess, leftovers, or discount bins. Each garment is made for someone, and it keeps its value because it was made with intention. She sources fabrics from European fashion houses' dead stock, materials that would otherwise end up in a landfill. While her scale is much smaller than global labels, she believes companies of any size can take responsibility for their production, an approach that preserves the value of the clothes and keeps the planet lighter. To Ariga Torosian, this represents the future of fashion: thoughtful, slow, and lasting.